have no idea where this will lead us, but I have a definite feeling it will be a place both wonderful and strange.
Hey, I'm JD.
And I'm Garon.
This is Investigating Twin Peaks.
We're trying some coffee. This is actually the first time trying not just any coffee. Oh, wow.
That is a damn fine cup of coffee.
That is actually David Lynch's coffee, which if you haven't heard of, he actually has his own line of coffee, which is delicious, as I just tried for the first time myself through friends of ours that heard about the project that we're doing, and they wanted, and they are actually close in with the show. And
they donated a couple bags of Lynch's coffee from the man himself, actually. The pilot is kind of its own thing, and then from there the series are numbered episode 1, 2, 3, 4. They weren't given titles, although when they aired in Germany, they were given German titles. They're not official names, but this one, its German title was Traces to Nowhere, which I think is an elegant title for the first episode. Written by Mark Frost and David Lynch. It was directed by Dwayne Dunham, who is actually David Lynch's editor for Blue Velvet and Wild at Heart, which Lynch was shooting Wild at Heart during this first season of Twin Peaks. And Dwayne Dunham went on to edit Empire Strikes Back and actually Return of the Jedi.
wow.
So I think Lynch was too busy filming Wild at Heart to direct this opening episode. And from my understanding, Dwayne Dunham was kind of given the task of just following the mood and the template that Lynch had set up for the pilot.
Gotcha. Which I
Yeah, he did a great job.
Did great with it. Yeah.
It's really pretty. Again, I think the colors in the series are really special. There's like a warm tone to everything, and it looks like a place. Everything from the Great Northern Hotel to the diner. It just has a feeling that I would like to visit those places and spend time in them.
The first thing that hit me with this episode was how fast it was, comparative. Timeline-wise, but just no pilot, just like in general, it's just, normally the pilot's longer, but just like you're watching it, you're sitting there, you're like, okay, next thing you know, it's done, and you're like, oh, wow, oh, it's over, all right, okay.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because I think, similarly to the pilot, its pace is very deliberate again, compared to other shows that are airing now. Certainly, it has a slow burn, just like the pilot. And when you're watching it, the episode takes its time, allows itself to breathe. You're given more time with the characters, get to know them a little bit more. Nothing drastic really happens, and then it's kind of done.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily a flaw of the show. I think it was a fine episode, but compared to the pilot, where you were kind of trying to keep up with certain things and characters and events and the plot that was taking place, this one, there was no real problem.
And I think it was also because, and I took a lot more notes on the pilot than this one, but it was because the pilot, you're learning new people left and right. Left and right, you're learning who this person, a little bit of this is that. This one, it was kind of going back to new people. I mean, people that you've met already. There's a format to it to where it's like it keeps you going. It's not a lot to where it's like, oh my gosh, that was crazy the entire time, but enough for me to want to watch another episode.
Oh, good.
You know, so it keeps you going enough. It may, you know, for me it's one way, for you it might be something else, but it's enough to where it's like, wait, that was it? There's got to be more. Okay.
I think you're right. I think by the end of the episode, you do just kind of want to press play.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't a big cliffhanger, nothing like the first episode, like the pilot, certainly. Just little nuggets along the way to just keep your interest peaked enough that you want to stay in the town.
Yeah. That's a dang fine cup of coffee. That's a great line right there.
I think Cooper, straight from the get-go in this episode, it seems like Kyle MacLachlan, the actor who plays him, and again, Frost and Lynch writing, the character seems absolutely in place now. And consistent in a way that he is until the end of the series. Whereas in the pilot, they were finding their way a bit. But the opening with him upside down and what he says about the Kennedys, that's perfect Cooper. And I think he's so effortlessly charming, both the actor and the character, that it's a pleasure to watch him and kind of go on this journey. And I think that goes into the next scene with him having his cup of coffee at the Great Northern and Audrey coming in.
Yeah.
And their chemistry is immediate, and I feel like explosive on set, and I love their dynamic is interesting. Her infatuation with him, she's in high school and here's this FBI agent. She's certainly shyly bold. She's not trying to hide her infatuation with him, and it takes him back a bit, I think, and makes him a little uncomfortable. And I think, maybe has to do with Cooper treating her with such respect immediately, differs greatly from how she's treated by her father. So that's an interesting thing. Their age difference, and Cooper being a very different person than her dad, I think is something interesting and worth watching as the series progresses.
Gotcha. Cooper's smart. He knows what he's doing, but he also has a way with his words, even when he is flustered. I see that because he's, with, like you were saying, with the girls, with the pie and everything. He knows how to compliment just the right people in the right amount of time, so that he can get the guard down.
Yeah.
He can break their guard down and get answers and read them. And read them just based upon, how she got him pie, or how he watched a video, or how, and it's breaking that down to where it's like, I'm going to use that. I'm going to, Federal Bureau investigator, I'm going to use that full line.
Right.
I'm going to show that power. Leo shows up. Is that not right at the beginning, but it's close.
A little ways in, Shelley is going to her job.
Yeah.
And he asks her if
That's
the
right, to
laundry's
do
been
laundry.
done.
Hey, have you done laundry? Yes, I have. No, you haven't. Here you go. And what we find in him is just creepy. Like it's well done through the filming, through the acting, through the music, because it just has that eeriness to it, where it's like, whenever this guy comes on screen, it's like, what is, like there's something that we don't know.
Right, because that goes back to Laura's diary, nervous about meeting
Leo.
Jay
Yeah.
tonight. And Leo Johnson is married to Shelley Johnson. But it's also potentially James.
Gotcha.
Those are the Jays that we know at the moment, and Josie Packard.
So then Leo is just, he gives you the heebie-jeebies, I guess you would say. He'd give you these weird, and it does. And so when it leads up to, I thought he was going to show up and get pie. I thought that's what was going to happen. Cooper kept ordering pie. I'm like, Cooper, stop ordering pie. Will you stop ordering pie? He's about to show up. He's not going to have any pie. He's not going to have enough. I was like, how much pie does this place have?
So you were nervous for Shelley?
I was nervous for Shelley. I was nervous for if something was going to go down to where it's like, he walks in, he just has 2 things of pie in front of him, Cooper does, and he's like, oh, we just gave the last out, and there's that like awkward like, oh crap moment, and they're like, oh yeah, that's him, that's Leo, but he doesn't, I thought that was what was maybe going to happen. But the fact that she came home, he didn't stop by like he said he was going to, which I see because he kind of got flustered with not knowing where the shirt was.
The bloody shirt is a big plot point.
Bloody shirt, which throws it all, which kind of just builds on top of the fact that Leo is a creep. And so it takes that to... So then her coming home is like, okay, she's coming home, she brought him pie. And then you just see, oh, yeah, this is about to go down. That's not...
Yeah, that's a really difficult scene to watch. I think, even though we know that Shelley is seeing Bobby behind Leo's back, there's still an innocence about her.
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah.
Almost a delicacy to her, like his kind of foreboding presence makes it even more difficult knowing that he lives with her.
Yeah.
And the thought of him, beating her with bar soap in
yeah.
a sock is just brutal. You
like
know,
that,
this is really
of all things, you know, there's so many out there, and there's so many just not simpler things, but just more what you would have in mind, and then bar soap and sock, and you're like, where did your head go for this to be even an option? Which I mean, I feel like I'm not sure. Back then, was that more of like I don't know if
I think because it is so outlandish, it makes it more authentic in a creepy way. Like, it's outlandish to the point that, oh my god, I bet people do that. Like, it, mean?
It was real enough to where it's not like, oh, no one's ever gonna do that. But no, it was to the point where it's like, wow, I would have never thought of that. But that is like crazy, like
creepy
that, to be that thought. And so him to do that, and it goes back to also the cinematography, which was great too. Like you said, it makes her seem more, you know, vulnerable because of the angles, because of the fact that it flipped around and it had it coming down on her.
Yeah.
Like that, in some ways, can be kind of cheesy in some forms. But for that, I feel like it worked.
Yeah, I think the shots on him slightly lower, making him larger, and then for her, when she kind of cowers in the corner, up higher just made her feel so isolated and vulnerable in that little corner. And they cut before you see anything, and you just hear kind of a thud, and that's almost worse than seeing. Because your imagination
is so much worse.
Yeah.
So it lets you take it away. It's like we've let, you know, tossed you a great pitch. Now let your imagination run wild with it.
Yeah. Do you feel the bloody shirt? What are your thoughts on Leo at this point and his connection to the murder? Anything happening? Anything percolating in your head?
See, I don't know, just because where my mind goes, it's the first episode. You're gonna give me a bloody shirt right off the bat. It's like being like, look over here while this happens over here. And so I can't, me as a person who likes watching television and likes watching and kind of knows scenarios of things, I don't think I'll figure it out, but I'm just saying and if it is, great. But it's one of those, it's too soon for you to be like, here, there's your pie, enjoy it. That is where it's like, you're not giving me a shirt. You're not going to give me this shirt and be like, here, the head of it.
The series is based around, its focal point is the mystery of who killed Laura Palmer. It feels a little too easy, too quick to just, it's, a herring. And I will say, I guess the killer, I don't remember exactly which episode. I'm sure when I rewatch it I'll remember. But my mom guessed the killer in the pilot. And she was right. So, and I'm not saying it's Leo or not Leo. There are clues that are already...
It's Colonel Mustard with a knife in the library.
So yeah, just pay attention and stay tuned. There's something about Donna that is really lovely that I'm watching kind of and experiencing for the first time in this viewing. I loved her in the pilot episode, the scene with her and James at the end, and there's a quality to Laura Flynn Boyle's voice when she whispers that I think is really infatuating. And I love the scene where she's talking to her mom, and it's like she's got the PJs on and she looks so lovely. And she says that it feels like the most beautiful dream and terrible nightmare at the same time. And I think that that's kind of the perfect way to describe the series in general. And I loved hearing her voice say it. And I think this episode, certainly more than the first, you're given more time with each character, and they're starting to feel even more real, and you're getting connected to them even more. It's great. So,
Donna and James, they're the part where they're talking about, where she's like, oh yeah, we were in love with, he was in love with her, but then we realized last night that we were actually in love with each other the entire time. Half of me is like, oh, and the other half of me is like, what? You just lost your best friend. It's like fighting that two evils of like, what? So which then it goes into them at dinner.
Right.
And that moment of just like, oh, I missed you. Oh, this and that. Your friend just died 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's a time and place. There's like, yeah, I understand. We found that we love each other and all this, but I'm like, this isn't like a wedding where you're just sleeping with everybody and you're like, or it's not, you know. No, but I'm saying like, this isn't. It's one of those moments where give it. You know, I was like, it is. It's that fighting in me to be like, okay, I understand. That's amazing that you found that and you do, which I do. I feel like they do love each other, but it's that it just happens so fast.
Yeah.
To where it's like, don't you like?
It goes back to what she's saying, and she says it right before then, which I think is deliberately put there
Before
in
that.
the plot about the most beautiful dream and terrible nightmare simultaneously, and that's kind of the nature of the show, which you either allow it to take you there, or you put up some resistance to it. Donna, after she woke up, went to the Palmer's house, and obviously Sarah Palmer, Laura's mother, is not doing too well. Leland gives her some type of pill to like keep her calm and says to Donna, try not to upset her. And while they're there, Sarah seems to just see Laura in Donna's face, and then has a vision of a man at the end of a bed.
Yeah.
And kind of pushes in close to him.
Was that man? But no, which threw me off because I see that man. Was that man the police officer in the next scene though?
No.
That wasn't him?
No, we have not seen that man before.
We haven't seen that man before?
Although, we'll talk more at length about that character in the future, but I will say that gentleman makes a brief cameo in the pilot in the shot that I told you that we would have to go watch.
Yes.
Ronat Pulaski's parents, she's in a coma, they're outside the window, and there she is in the background, this teenager from high school in a coma after she's been sexually abused by a couple men, and these two are talking about her job at the perfume counter.
She was great.
Sweetest smelling job I ever had. And again, it's so disorienting.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think just like in the pilot episode with Josie putting on makeup and the layers underneath it, Cooper upside down in the opening moments hanging from the ceiling, I think is a really lovely way to open this episode as well. Just this upside down disoriented masks. It's really effectively done. We're given a little answer to something that was raised in the pilot episode. Dr. Jacoby is the man with the other half of the necklace. What do you think of that?
Yes, which is the last thing I wrote. The mystery man, creepy also, but it is that, not too hot for teacher, but it's the, what is that, the fall in love with your doctor kind of thing to it, like that, which is like, oh, okay, but even the doctor throws off some weird vibes, just like his, that just like, and he's a psychologist, right?
Yeah.
Psychologist, so he's heard all of her secrets, he's heard all of the,
He's a man to talk to, that's for sure.
Yeah, so having that, knowing that he has the other half of the heart, kind of, I don't know if it really points fingers, or if it's just leading you down a road that is easy to follow because of where it's going to lead you. Because it's the heart, it's there. If I'm looking for the other half, I want to know where it is. Perfect, there it is. But he has the other half. Where's the other half now?
The other half was in...
The other half got picked up, right?
Cooper's hands. Because they found it at the murder scene.
Gotcha, yeah.
So the cops have the one half, and Dr. Jacoby has the other half.
Gotcha.
And like most answers in the show, it leads to other questions.
Yeah.
So Jacoby was following Donna and James.
Yeah.
And saw them bury the necklace and then picked it up. So what the hell was he doing following Donna and James?
Oh, yeah.
And he's got these tapes of Laura saying, "Hey Doc, what's up? Remember I told you about that mystery man? Like, what information does he have and why is he keeping it from the cops if it's important to her murder.
Yeah.
And then he breaks down and starts crying. So how did he feel about Laura?
I think he got a little too close to Laura.
That's the impression.
But why is he hiding it? I don't know.
Is that why he's hiding it? Did they get, like, inappropriately close?
Yeah.
Again, she's a high school student.
Yeah. And again, that part is enough to where it keeps you wanting to know and keeps asking questions and keeps you. It's the end. That was the end. So it was enough to where it was like, okay, cool. I'm getting it. All right, let's do this. Take some notes. Okay, I have a question about that. I have a question about that. And then that part happens, and then the episode's over, and you're like, wait, what? You can't just leave me with that. But it's just enough to like. It's like, all right, and next, kind of thing. And it's good. It keeps you going. It keeps you. And if each episode does that, I think everybody will be intrigued.
Yeah, and I think it's not a commitment. The series itself isn't a commitment like other series, like Lost or X-Files or Game of Thrones. Even now, it's 29 episodes and you're done. And once you get past the pilot, just like this first episode, whoa, that's done. Okay, next episode, let's do it. And I think that's going to be really lovely when it returns on Showtime. Supposedly 18 episodes, every single episode written and directed by David Lynch. Yes, and co-written by Mark Frost. It's just going to be a special thing. Series don't happen like that very often, where it's just this tight story, beginning, middle, and then it's going to just be this great little time capsule story.
No, it's not.
I think it's going to be very special.
Especially that long of a gap, and for it to have enough fan base and have enough interest to bring it back after that long. There's tons of things that go away and come back, but usually it's a shorter period of time. But that's a long period of time to where for you to now get people who have seen it rewatch it just because they're excited because it's coming back, new people who have never seen it just because word of mouth, it's gotten out there, and it gives you something to be like, okay, well, no, I want to.
Yeah, and the closer we get to its premiere, I think the buzz will just grow.
Yep. And that's pretty much the point of this.
What we're doing.
This.
And hopefully get some dialogue happening, and really looking forward to hearing any of your thoughts. So please do share any comments or questions, because we look forward to potentially answering some of your questions in future episodes. There are a couple little things that I want to mention. There's a character named Jock Renault who's tending bar. Big Ed says that he thinks his beer was drugged and that he was out on his feet before the fight with Mike and Bobby happened in the pilot. We haven't met him yet.
Okay.
But he's a bartender at the Roadhouse. And he plays a big role moving forward, but in this episode he's just mentioned. And another very brief mention is the Bookhouse Boys, which is a fun thing from the series. Moving forward, we got lucky this episode because we were able to hear the lovely Log Lady speak for the first time. What did you think about her little interaction with Cooper and Truman in the diner?
Again, it's so early to be able to read people and tell people, and I'm not Cooper, so I can't read people. But she reminds me of what I would think the quintessential, I would say, she's the log lady, but it'd be almost like the quintessential, not hermit, I wouldn't want to say, but like, the person in town who doesn't say much, is a little off, but probably knows everything, One of those people who it's like, nobody technically questions these people because they're just going to give you the runaround unless you really want to work for it. It's always the crazy Uncle Joe down the street who's like, oh, I don't know, ask crazy Uncle Joe. And you go ask him, and he's like, have you seen so-and-so in a few days? He was murdered. And you'd be like, well, the moon was out last night. And you just walked down the street. It's like, you're like, this is crazy. Who cares? But in that sentence, he probably told you an answer. Right. But you're not going to, that's what I feel like the log lady is.
Doesn't say much.
Yeah.
But when they speak, if you pay the right type of attention, you get more than you asked for.
Yeah.
And I think people like that, there's a reluctance to engage with them because, one, they might just talk your ear off and, you know, give you nothing but nonsense. Or you might not honestly be prepared for what they say to you, because people like that tend to be more honest and blunt than is sometimes socially acceptable.
Yeah.
And you know, you might not want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Oh.
Thanks so much for joining us. Make sure to watch episode 2 for our next show, Investigating Twin Peaks. Don't forget your coffee. I'm JD.
I'm Garon. Sweet dreams.
Mm-hmm.